Hello everyone and welcome to SwitchUp. In today's video we're going to have a look at the 10 games that got the highest scores on the channel for last month, that month being of course September. Now we reviewed 15 games last month and I'll be honest, after the first couple of reviews of the month, which both scored around 30 or 40%, we were starting to wonder what on earth this video was going to look like at the end of the month. Thankfully though, after that blip, the quality was so high that a game scoring 80% didn't even make the cut. Now links to all 15 reviews are in the top pinned comment if you want the full story, or if you just want to see the duff ones so you know what to avoid. So which games got the highest scores for the month? Well, let's find out. Right, 10 games to go through, but a few did have tied scores, so in 8th place for the month was Bloodrayne Betrayal Fresh Bites. This is a remastered version of a game which came out on the PS3 and Xbox 360's digital stores back in 2011 and was the third game in the Bloodrayne series. This one is a 2D hack and slash game with fast and fluid combat as well as some platforming sections. Everything this time round is in high definition, some balancing has taken place in terms of a new optional difficulty mode, and the voice actors from the first two Bloodrayne games have reprised their roles this time round. The controls can be a bit niggly at times and there were a few spikes in difficulty, but on the whole this was a great deal of fun and it got a SwitchUp score of 82%. In 7th place was Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. This game is based on the very popular anime and it combined combat with RPG elements and is definitely a love letter to fans. It encompasses the cinematic elements you would expect with an open world of quests, levelling up and fighting against enemies, and although the actual RPG side of it is a little light, it will still no doubt make fans of the show very happy. The base game also comes with the A Power Awakens DLC for a bit more content, and on balance it got a SwitchUp score of 83%. In joint 6th place for the month then was Outtro Age, which was a very pleasant surprise having been made by 4 university friends with a love for action games. It tells the story of a distant future where after a cataclysmic event, a huge percentage of the Earth's population has left for a colony elsewhere. When contact with the Earth is lost, you are sent to investigate. You'll be fighting hordes of mechanical and biological enemies with a variety of blades, each with particular strengths or weaknesses against the different enemies. The combat is very satisfying, you have your upgrades and light RPG elements in that respect, and performance is very strong too. On the more negative side, some of the elements are perhaps a little underused, the English voice acting can be quite irritating, although there is a Japanese dub if you'd prefer, and it feels perhaps a little too long for its own good, but it is still a very impressive effort and it got a SwitchUp score of 84%. Also in joint 6th place then was Actraiser Renaissance. This is a remake of Actraiser, a game that came out very early in the Super Nintendo's life, and the original was a unique blend of platforming and city building. This remake is the same in that respect, but it has added a few new elements, the most prominent being settlement sieges which almost act as tower defense sections. Now I will say that these sections have upset the balance between platforming and realm management, which really was the original strength, but even with that in mind, I still really enjoyed this game. The 32-bit style graphics, whilst not for everyone's taste, do make for an interesting change from the original, and the remastered music is fantastic, as is the choice to include the original tracks too. The differences to this new version mean it isn't as easy as saying that fans of that original will love this one just as much, but as a fan myself, I thought it was great fun and it got a SwitchUp score of 84%. And once again, in joint 6th place for the month was a game called UnMetal. This was clearly heavily inspired by the original Metal Gear on the MSX and has a huge slice of humour and popular culture references thrown in for good measure. It's not just about the humour though, the core gameplay is very well done and everything is incredibly entertaining. The audio and voices in particular add a huge amount to the overall package, and whilst a few quirks in terms of controls perhaps mar things a little, it's still definitely worth looking into if the premise sounds at all interesting to you. The final game of the month that scored a SwitchUp score of 84%. In 5th place was Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. This game was released to celebrate the 20th anniversary of this particular series and collects over 300 courses from the first 3 games in that series, being Super Monkey Ball, Super Monkey Ball 2 and Super Monkey Ball Deluxe. You need to get your monkey encased within a ball from point A to point B, rotating the world around them and navigating a host of obstacles and hazards along the way. It's a great celebration of the series, bringing together some fiendish courses that will frustrate the life out of you but make you feel a sense of elation when you finally complete them. On the negative side, there is no online multiplayer, with the party games just available locally, although these are great fun if you are able to play this way. It got a SwitchUp score of 85%. Coming in 4th, with a score that could realistically take 1st place most months, it's Cruis'n Blast. Originally released in arcades in 2017, this Switch version expanded the number of tracks from 5 to 29. As well as this, it added a huge amount of vehicles to play as, most of which required unlocking, something I really enjoy doing in games, and as well as your standard cars, there are some wacky offerings such as a helicopter, a dinosaur and a unicorn. Yes, a lot of the new tracks are basically variations of those 5 original ones, but they do mix things up well enough to keep things feeling fresh, and it's just a pure point A to point B arcade racer. No crashing and waiting to respawn or hitting walls. Hit a wall, you'll smash right through it. No online multiplayer is the big negative, but the local multiplayer is brilliant fun and it got a SwitchUp score of 87%. In 3rd place for the month, one of Nintendo's own, this is Warioware Get It Together. Incredibly, this is the 10th game in this series now, and it brings the microgame formula to the Nintendo Switch. This one offers a slightly different take in that each new character that you can control handles slightly differently and therefore changes how you would play the minigame. It has an interesting mix of multiplayer games, some of which call for you to work together, but then scores you separately, creating that unique mix of cooperative but competitive action in one go. Talking of multiplayer though, there is no true online mode, it's more about beating others' high scores, and that is unfortunate. On the whole though, the tweaks made to the formula works very well, and it got a SwitchUp score of 88%. In 2nd place was a very pleasant surprise, and this was Tales of Iron. This sees you playing as the heir to the throne trying to defend your land. The combat is measured and incredibly difficult, but it's very rewarding to overcome, and you will need to make a good use of the various weapons and armour pieces that you find throughout the land. Narration is provided by Doug Cockle, who liked our review judging by his message on Twitter, and I see he especially liked my pun there. Good to see someone did, I suppose. In all seriousness though, his stoic-like tone brings a sort of gravitas that helped make Geralt of Rivia such an iconic character. A great game if you are up for a challenge, and it got a very credible SwitchUp score of 90%. And in 1st place for the month, a game that many had hoped would be as good as it looked, but I'm sure there was some trepidation from some, bearing in mind a few disappointments with other games in recent memory. There was nothing to worry about here though, this is Eastward. In terms of its story, it displays a lot of heart, and it has that coming of age, all in it together feel that classic movies such as Stand By Me and The Goonies employed to such good effect. Gameplay wise, it has a lot of elements that would feel perfectly at home in a JRPG, but it streamlines them and feels more akin to an action-adventure game in that respect. The world design itself is fantastic and it lends itself very well to its outstanding story. Visuals and audio are also absolutely top notch, and bar a few minor bugs, there was very little to complain about. Quite possibly the highest score ever given on the channel, certainly the highest I can remember. It got a SwitchUp score of 95%. So there you have it, a month that started quite badly in terms of scores having to be given, ended fantastically well with some top quality games being released. Please do let us know any games that you played this month, maybe games we didn't review, what score would you have given them, how much did you enjoy them, let us all know in the comment section below. Please do remember that I'll put links to all 15 reviews, not just the 10 featured in this video, in the top pinned comment if you want more information. A quick thank you to our Patreons as always for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.